So the challenge in this day and age with Elon and Trump and who knows what kind of tensions going on there is to keep track of 25 other incredibly important things. So let's hop in with some people I've respected for a long time, the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and talk about what, if anything, should be going on, is going on, and should be going on with the Iran nuclear deal. Their Iran program senior director is Behnam Ben Taleblu. Sir, welcome to Hugh Hewitt Show. Nice to have you.
Great to be with you. Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, what's the status right now of this nuclear deal that is drips with so much skepticism? Can we even trust the Iranian regime? That makes it challenging enough. Where exactly does it stand right now?
Well, where it stands is no doubt the Iranians understand that President Trump does indeed want a deal. The president's been remarkably clear about this even before he entered office when he was campaigning before term one. I think the tagline then was, "I buy bad deals, I make them good deals." The president was immensely successful in term one when it comes to maximum pressure against the regime. He's implemented that very successfully against them in term two. There have been 5 rounds of direct or indirect nuclear talks, depending on who you believe. And ultimately, the positions on paper publicly on the Iranian side, on the American side, remain far apart. But there is lots of leaks and reporting and stories about various U.S. proposals, various Iranian ideas that make them appear at least somewhat technically closer together based on the negotiations that they've been having in private. My great fear here is, and this is what the American people should know, that the only way you can get a deal quickly, and that depends if the Iranians or the Americans want to deal quickly, is if there is a massive collapse in the public position. And I think the art of the deal here is to get the other guy to collapse, not to have us collapse. And the latest and perhaps most breaking thing on the Iran nuclear today is that the President Trump had a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin where they did discuss Iran, among a few other things. And this follows a story just from a few hours ago, Iran time, where the supreme leader of Iran rejected the spirit and the zeitgeist of America's nuclear offers to the regime.
Well, exactly right. And I think that's the kind of standoff that we're going to have moving forward, is because the American demands, if you want to call it, the American suggestions, whatever you want to call them, involve Iran being able to have only so much nuclear power, enough to keep the lights on, not enough to make bombs, and also for them to allow pretty frequent and reliable, often unannounced inspections. Is there any universe in which Iran accepts that?
Well, there could be a universe in which the regime is made to accept that if they're put to the choice of not just having an economy in this, but doing their entire survival in this. I mean, just look at the year that Iran is exiting. The only reason that the Islamic Republic of Iran is negotiating with President Trump, who, let's be clear, is a qualitatively different U.S. president on a whole host of fronts, but on especially when it comes to Iran policy, that any other Ayatollah or Revolutionary Guardsman has known of in the past 46 years of the whole U.S.-Iran history. And that's because in term one, the president supported the Iranian people who were protesting. He had maximum pressure, even unilaterally, which was effective. And he was willing to pull the trigger against Iran's chief terrorist, Qasem Soleimani, when Republican and Democratic previous administrations were unwilling to. So Trump is very dangerous for the regime. And the regime has always said no to negotiations with him. But all of a sudden, starting in March, April of this year, the regime said yes, after 7 years of saying no. Similarly, if you believe Reuters, just last week, Reuters had an exclusive that said that the regime was willing to at least allegedly offer a pause in uranium enrichment. That's the process in which the stuff that you use potentially for a reactor or medical research can be brought up to weapons grade. They were willing to consider a pause. The regime has not paused enrichment on Iranian soil for a single day since April 2006. So that would be a historic get. So there's proof that if the president keeps going, he can keep watering down the U.S. position. The fear here is how the Iranians might try to tempt Trump and how they might try to, play the clock, because 2025 is a year of decision on Iran because of the weakness of the regime in the region, because of the weakness at home, because of the escalating Israel-Iran tensions, because of the vast chasm that exists in Iran between the state and society. And for all these things, the regime is trying to point to the fact to, hey, I've been negotiating with the superpower of the world, the United States of America, and I'm not getting bested.
The Foundation for Defense of Democracy is always a great place to go for all kinds of foreign policy wisdom. Behnam Ben Taleblu, thank you, sir. Pleasure to have you on the program.